The call of the Hogs can be heard all the way to San Francisco.
You're listening to Pod at the Palace with Curtis Wilkerson on Inside Arkansas.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday and welcome back to the Pod at the Palace. I'm your host, Curtis Wilkerson with Inside Arkansas, recording here late into the night on Wednesday, my last night in Fayetteville here before flying to New York City for a couple days. It's our last real opportunity for Michelle to see her family before she's just, frankly, too pregnant to fly. You get to a certain point there where you're not supposed to, and she's getting pretty close. So have to take the opportunity here, baby shower, seeing some family, the in-laws, and then I'm off from there to Omaha on Sunday. And folks, we're just a couple days away from the start of the College World Series. So close you can smell it, but good grief. There was a lot going on with Razorback basketball on Wednesday, wasn't there? It's kind of crazy, you know, the twists and turns of international recruiting, another massive game announcement at Bud Walton Arena, and we're going to talk about all of the above. But first, let's talk about our partners. Today's episode is brought to you by our new friends over at Freedom Boat Club Arkansas. Summer's finally here. Where is a better place to spend your summer than on the lake? I'll tell you, nowhere. You don't own a boat? That's okay. It doesn't matter. You don't need to. Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas has you covered. Freedom Boat Club gives you access to boats without the commitment. This is boating that fits your lifestyle, fun, flexible, and stress-free. They take care of the boat so you can simply enjoy the moment from Cape Cod to the California coast. Your next boat day awaits with 3 locations in Arkansas. Lake time is closer than you think. Whether you prefer Greer's Ferry Lake, Lake Hamilton, or a day on the river in Little Rock, Freedom Boat Club of Arkansas will help make sure your summer in the natural state is the best one yet. Check out their Instagram page at Freedom Boat Club Arkansas today to learn more about the benefits of joining the club. Check out that QR code in the top right-hand corner of your screen. It'll take you exactly where you need to go. Something tells me that this is going to be in high demand here shortly after the Razorbacks go down to Omaha and clinch this College World Series. I wouldn't mind celebrating on a boat. I don't know about you guys, but let's get into it. Busy day on the basketball front for the Razorbacks. And, you know, I think we should start with the recruiting front because there was, like a pair of developments that would appear to be connected on the surface, I think, just because of the timeline of everything, but I'm actually not sure they really are. In fact, I really don't think they are. So let's start with our man Egor Ryzhov, because everybody wants to know, you know, when's he going to make it official? What's the holdup? What's going on? Thought it was going to happen over the weekend. It didn't. What are we doing here? Well, for starters, he gave everyone's heart a flutter with an Instagram post Wednesday morning. I woke up to the notification, and I was thinking, bro, finally, here we go. Only to open it, and it was just a photo dump from his season that came to an end earlier in the week over there in Russia. So I get it. You know, like, it's been a few days. What are we waiting on? Well, from all I've gathered, from earlier in the day, it's kind of like we've talked about, you know, a lot here recently. There's just more hurdles and obstacles to get through with these international players who've been playing also as professionals. It's just kind of the way that it works. And it's something that a bunch of schools are going through right now with their international commitments and the guys that they're targeting. And, you know, getting the appropriate visa is something that can be time consuming, even more so with the current administration as it pertains to Russian student athletes. Okay. Not to get political here, but just throwing it out there. And, you know, I do believe, based on what I'm hearing, that's could be the source of the wait here for now. And yeah, you have to get, you know, all the academic stuff in order as well for admissions and enrollment. So transcripts and test scores and all that. Egor graduated early over there. I think he was 17 or something when he graduated. Wouldn't sweat that. No offense, but it's not like the U of A has Ivy League academic standards, right? Just got to get in what you need to get in. Then there's the NCAA aspect of it, which, has been just, I think, ineffectively, although I don't necessarily have a better alternative, just kind of juggling the eligibility of these international players and they, like foreign born players in college basketball is not a new concept, but guys who've been playing for money is a new concept, and based on how long they played professionally and all that, you're seeing some guys who may be given 3 years of eligibility when they come over instead of 4, whatever. There are guys who are 22, 23, 24 years old who have been pros for 5 years. They're getting cleared to play Division I, but they're trying to determine, like, I don't know if penalize is the word, but like how they should take into account their professional playing careers in terms of their college eligibility. Like if you played professionally for 4 years, are they really going to give you 4 years to play college basketball? And in a lot of cases, the answer to that is no. Again, Egor is he's 20 years old, but he graduated high school young, and he was on a 3-year contract there with his squad in Russia. So, the details are going to have to get ironed out. This is not uncommon, but you always just kind of have an eyebrow raised when it comes to international recruitment, especially nowadays, because you don't want something to drag out or be a pain in the butt to the point where a kid or his representation or whatever just say, man, forget this. Like it ain't worth it. I'll stay put and just kind of keep playing professionally and making money where I'm at. Right. And I'm not saying that's the case, here or not, but you don't want it to get to that point. This is not new to Cal and the staff. And, he's already gone through all of the above with Big Z in the past. So is what it is. Right. We'll continue to keep an eye on it, not happening as quickly as we wanted it to. That's okay. It doesn't rule anything out. So there was that. And then a few hours later, and I want to credit JC because he had it before I did. So I just needed to confirm, and it's since made the rounds, it appears. But, word starts to circulate that Arkansas is in deep with Bosnian big man Elmir Zafic, with an announcement on his plans, expected to come very, very soon. Right. Well, hey, I get it. If you heard me say that and then you said, yeah, dude, we've heard that before. I know. Okay. Listen, I'll believe anything when I see it at this point. But hey, that's the word, right? So you got to be ready for it. I'll keep it a buck with you. That name got on my radar Wednesday. Okay. We've talked about a lot of international players over the course of the last few weeks, but haven't talked about him on the pod. I had not had him connected to Arkansas. But hey, I love a nice surprise, right? It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So, Arkansas has been kicking the tires on multiple international players, and it's not limited to Egor and Elmir. Very wise to not put all your eggs in one basket, right? But as for him, I mean, what are we talking about here? Like, what does he look like as a player? What does he bring to the table? Size, okay, 7 foot, 265 pounds. The Bosnian bulldozer, as somebody in the Discord referred to him. And I like that. I'm going to steal it. I'll go back and find out who said it and I'll give you credit. But he was just a major prospect in Bosnia after averaging a double-double in the U18s with the national team over there. Just really dominated it, a couple summers ago. He's played 3 years professionally in the Adriatic League, which we've talked about a lot because a lot of players from that league are playing at high major Division I's next year, right? So it's a really good league over there. Similar to Ryzhov in that he's kind of dominated his age group and, the lower levels, second levels or whatever. And he's earned a roster spot on the A squad, the high level team that just has a bunch of guys that are 5-10 years older and more experienced than him. And that's, so you'll see, oh, well, he's not playing huge. He's not putting up crazy stats, whatever. But then you go look at it and he's like, he just turned 20 years old. And, the guys who are starting on that team are 27, 28, have already played 4 years of college or 10-year vets in that league or whatever. So, hey, getting a seat at the table is pretty damn impressive. Right. I probably watched half hour, 40 minutes worth of film on him at this point between just kind of packing and prepping some other stuff for our trip. I don't want to spoil all the potential live reaction takes if something pops here. But briefly speaking on him, he's huge. He is a space eater and a body mover in the paint. Really knows how to seal and establish his position well on the block. Back to the basket, big man, has some decent footwork in there. Can play in the pick and roll as a power option powerful dunker, has some nice touch over his left shoulder, that right hand. And he's a pretty good passer at his size, just strong as an ox. Strikes me as a guy that's going to need to really adjust to the athleticism of the SEC. He's big enough, okay, from a physicality standpoint. He ain't gonna get pushed around by anybody in the SEC or elsewhere. But in terms of the length and the speed and the athleticism, that's where the adjustment would come. I view him as, he looks to me like year one, a third big, a quality depth with upside for Kenny Payne, the Whisperer, right? Put the guru, the big man guru, to work. That's the way I see it. So, what does it mean? Because all of a sudden it's like, oh, we're kind of playing this waiting game with one guy, and then another guy comes onto the table. So are we talking one or the other or both? Hey, you know me. I always say, why not both? Because I'm not afraid of a depth chart. I've been begging Cal to get Kenny Payne, a young big man to develop, who can even play a little bit for you in the process along the way. I have also been begging Cal for a backup four-man, so you're not putting all that pressure on Trevin Brazil or guys playing out of position. And Egor over in Russia has the type of athleticism and the skill set that could help you immediately in the rotation, in my opinion. So I know the timing of these two things feels like it's just too close to be a coincidence, but I think it is, right? Like, at the moment, I don't have any reason to believe that Arkansas is moving on Elmir and moving on from Egor. I just don't have a reason to think that's a thing yet. If I get one, I'll tell you, but I don't have that right now. They've been on both for a bit here. They have room for both. And I don't think they were blindsided by the Egor deal taking maybe longer than anticipated. Now, was I expecting Arkansas to make two additions? No, I would have told you it was more likely they didn't make one at all than making two, just being honest. But under these circumstances, there's no reason to rule it out, and it actually makes perfect sense, really, if you think about it. They have the room for it, first of all. Egor projects as immediate help in the rotation at the 4. Elmir projects as a developmental big who gives you insurance behind Malik Ewan and Nick Pringle at the 5, and it's just something you didn't have last year, and there's room for it. You didn't even have Jonas Adu and Big Z were practicing against GAs last year in the paint. Like, Lawson Blake wasn't even healthy. It was the two grad assistants that were, that they were beating up on every single day. Just having that body in practice, much less if you think about, some of these games where maybe you get a big lead or whatever, or one of your guys is in foul trouble, just not having to play those unnecessary minutes and having a guy in there who's big and powerful, can cut his teeth. It means something. It really does. And there's room for both here. I've also had some folks ask me about another hot target out there. What I can say is, like, yes, I've heard that too. I don't know who exactly that would be. I really don't. My assumption is that it would either be a depth guard, or a, kind of a CYA, cover your beep policy on Egor, just in case it got too complicated or too messy. I guess what I'm trying to say on that front is that, I mean, I don't know for sure, but I'd be highly, highly surprised if Arkansas were to add 3 names of consequence. So, my advice here is to stay very, very dialed in the immediate future as it pertains to Arkansas potentially getting deeper and better. And hey, we hope it happens, man. We'd be excited about it. So the Pod of the Palace is also proud to be partnered with Macadoodles Fine Wine, Beer, and Spirits, a local Arkansas favorite brand that just so happens to also be in Omaha, where many of you Razorback fans might be headed quite literally as you listen to this show. The store, interestingly enough, is managed by a recent University of Arkansas alum, and the customer service here is executed in exceptional style, modeling the Arkansas Macadoodles locations. Macadoodles Omaha has free popcorn, free coffee, and free samples every single day. In fact, Andrew and John are going to be out there for a live show Friday. I'll be in there Sunday, but they're going to be out there. And man, they got some stuff going on. Macadoodles Omaha is providing free ice all College World Series long to Arkansas Razorback fans. Any purchase comes with ice on the house. It is hot in Omaha. You need to keep your drinks cold. That's the way to do it. Macadoodles Omaha also has a College World Series point competition running. Busch Light 30 packs are as low as $16.88 with purchase of participating products. Each purchase worth a point for a fan's collegiate team of interest in the College World Series. $16.88 for a 30 pack. I like myself some Busch Light. I might have to come home with some of that. They also have a large selection of pretty much anything else you like to drink adult beverage wise: beer, seltzers, liquor, and wine to make the College World Series a blast. Water, snacks, cigars, among other items, are also available, making Macadoodles Omaha your one-stop shop for your College World Series needs. Macadoodles Omaha is proud to be hosting Inside Arkansas Live in Omaha on Friday at noon. Get out there and see the fellas. 3409 South 72nd Street in Omaha. Woo pig for Macadoodles Omaha. All right. Man, the twists and turns of the whole recruiting deal was only part of the news on Wednesday. And, we thought that the ACC SEC challenge matchups were coming soon, and they were. John Rothstein dropped them on Wednesday, and Arkansas will host Louisville at Bud Walton Arena as part of the event in early December. This, folks, in my opinion, is the best possible outcome for Arkansas based on the available options they had there. You couldn't get Duke because you already play them on Thanksgiving in Chicago, right? To me, North Carolina would have been really cool for name value, right? A blue blood, having North Carolina come into your building like that, it means something. It does. But they ain't what they once were. And if you look at that roster, even though it cost them $14 million or whatever, they look like a bubble team. Maybe they'll outplay that, but it's not that impressive. Like, this is not going to be your typical North Carolina Tar Heels team that's top 5 in the preseason and a dark horse Final Four contender or whatever. It's just not how they profile. North Carolina State with Will Wade would have been, a lot of fun. Clemson has been really, really good here in recent years, but like Louisville, it always really stood out because they are, for my money, clearly the second best team on paper in the ACC, thanks to the job that Pat Kelsey's done over there. And there's just so much cool storyline with John Calipari's history of being just rightfully hated by that program from his 15 years at Kentucky. So I absolutely love it. The first meeting between these teams since Maui, if you guys remember that one, obviously Arkansas was coached by Eric Musselman at the time, and Louisville, interesting enough, was coached by Kenny Payne, and Arkansas blew their doors off down there in Maui. But these are two teams that both look really good on paper. You got to go out there and prove it, but they look the part based on their rosters, and just a lot of parallels. I think this is a really great matchup. Both teams have dynamic freshman point guards. Malik Brown for Louisville, and then you've got Darius Acuff for Arkansas. Veteran leaders, Javon Hadley and DJ Wagner. Versatile stretch forwards. The matchup between Trevin Brazile and Kason Pryor, who Arkansas also recruited out of the portal, is just a lot of fun to me. You got a lot of talent on the wings. You think about a Carter Knox and a Ryan Conwell. You think about a Billy Richmond and Woodley from Kennesaw State. So it's just, there's a lot to like here. What I will say though is Arkansas, I think, has a significant advantage inside. So I would probably give the edge to Arkansas based on that if it was a neutral floor, and then also based on the home court. But this is a banger, man. Potential to be a top 15, top 10-ish caliber matchup when it's played. And it adds to an Arkansas schedule that is suddenly looking extra spicy. And I like that because, had a staff member tell me towards the end of football season that, part of their recruiting pitch to guys like, Darius Acuff, Malik Thomas, Isaiah Sealy, everybody else was to have one of the best, most challenging schedules in the country. Well, playing Duke in Chicago, playing Houston and Brooklyn, getting Baylor at home, getting Louisville at home. They're potentially going to add to this non-conference slate. And then the SEC, I mean, I would say that qualifies, wouldn't you? Pretty impressive stuff. So at any rate, that's Arkansas's matchup. And obviously there are a lot of teams in the ACC and the SEC and a lot of other matchups out there. So how do they shape up? Well, let's take a look at it. in our What to Watch For segment presented by Bryant Technologies, your home for network and security services. We know that they're dedicated to delivering high-quality network infrastructure and security camera solutions, taking pride in their exceptional workmanship and commitment to keeping your business operations seamlessly connected and secure. Whether it's structured cabling, security cameras, digital signage, or TV mounting, they've got you covered. Bryant Technology services the entire state of Arkansas as well as all of Arkansas's bordering states. You can give them a call, 870-883-0330. Check out their website at www.bryantstechnologies.com or use that nifty little QR code at the top right-hand corner of your screen. Let me pull up the matchups here and let's talk about them real quick. We'll run through them. You know, Arkansas and Louisville, this very well could be the best matchup on the slate. Going into it, though, I think I would have to rank it second, unfortunately, because Florida, the defending national champions, go to Cameron Indoor to face Duke. It's going to be another, a top 10 squad again this year. As much as I love the storylines, as much as I love both rosters between Arkansas and Louisville, the defending champs going to Cameron Indoor, I mean, I got to give them the nod. Sorry. Maybe the Arkansas game winds up being a better one, but on paper, that looks pretty sick. Those will be my 1-2 for sure. North Carolina at Kentucky. That's a really good game. Again, two blue bloods getting together, which is always going to be cool. It's always going to draw a lot of eyes and a lot of attention. North Carolina, probably not on the same level as they have been in the past. Maybe that impacts it a little bit. Maybe it doesn't. North Carolina State, who we mentioned with Will Wade, putting together a really good squad there in year one. Very interesting to see them going to Auburn. It's going to be a completely revamped Auburn team. I mean, they've got Pettiford back, but outside of that, it's a whole new squad. But that game is a lot of fun. I think it'll be a really good watch. Clemson at Alabama, I think will be a lot of fun. You know, both teams a little bit different, but both teams coming off a lot of postseason success. In fact, it was Nick Pringle who had a dominant performance against Clemson a couple years ago in the NCAA tournament to propel Alabama into the Final Four. He won't be there for that one, but there's a recent history in the NCAA tournament between those teams. So I like that game. Who else do we have? Virginia, which is going to be, I think, improved and a completely different style than we've grown used to, in previous years. They're not going to be the slowed down pack line defense, mover blocker offense type of team. They'll get up and down a little bit. They're going to Texas. So that'll be a fun game, I think. Outside of that, though, man. Oklahoma at Wake Forest. Not going to lie, I don't care. SMU at Vandy doesn't do a whole lot for me, although I think either of those teams could potentially be NCAA tournament teams. Texas A&M at Pitt. It's probably a good opportunity for A&M to go get a road win. Mississippi State at Georgia Tech. Does that move your needle? Mine's staying put. Miami at Ole Miss. Miami, I would imagine, will be better than they were last year, but that's not that, an overly enticing matchup there. LSU at Boston College. Virginia Tech at South Carolina. Yeah, that ain't doing much for me. Tennessee at Syracuse. That's a lot of orange. I mean, that's I made the noise and now my dog's freaking out over here. Tennessee and Syracuse, that's too much orange. They just shouldn't do that. There should be some kind of rule against that level of brightness. It's going to be at Syracuse, I think. Yeah, so in the Carrier Dome over there. Still, though, I mean, I think Tennessee kind of profiles as a superior team. Mizzou at Notre Dame, don't care. And then Georgia at Florida State. Does that do much for you? So I think overall there are more appealing matchups than last year. Probably, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pretty solid games there. But man, there's a lot that don't do much for me, and a lot of it's because of the ACC. I think it's going to be a better league than it was a year ago. A little bit deeper, probably get another team or two in the NCAA tournament, but still not quite on par with the SEC. And I hope they get back to where they were, because the ACC was they were the premier college basketball conference for the longest. So we'll see what it looks like. I don't know. What did the SEC go like 14-2 or something in the event last year? I don't know if it'll be that good, but I could definitely see them going 11-5, 12-4. To be honest, like I'd be really shocked if this winds up being a close challenge when all is said and done. But anyway, that'll do it. That'll wrap us up for today. Appreciate you guys for tuning in as always. The support does not go unnoticed, and really, really grateful for everybody that's been rocking with us, from day one, honestly. And if you guys weren't still listening and involved and in the chat and asking questions and engaged, we wouldn't be doing this, 5-6 days a week in the middle of June. So kudos to you for that. And I appreciate it. It's been a blast. I'm going to get out of here. Make sure you subscribe to the Inside Arkansas YouTube channel. And as always, find us wherever you find your podcasts in audio form, Apple, Spotify, the Pot at the Palace is there. Be back tomorrow, bright and early, 6 a.m. And hey, if anything cool happens between this time and that time, we'll go live and we'll talk about it. So you guys have a good day. We will catch you next time. It's been Curtis Wilkerson with Inside Arkansas and the Pot at the Palace.